Never forget that I am always willing to find new, innovative ways to torture my friends. Welcome back everybody to another video, this time with Rationale Anime Edition. We're not the only game show where the points don't matter, but we're the only one that can be done while feeling like death.
Wow.
Today we have Med, Neo, and Xantagio, all looking to answer some anime questions that I have provided. These questions range on a variety of factors, and sometimes I have to just give them straight up 3 minutes to be able to provide answers.
This is gonna be fun.
How you all feeling about this? Med thinks it's fun.
I got no idea what's going on. We ball.
I'm somewhere between what Med and Z said.
Cautious optimism is what we call that.
Yeah. Alright. I believe this first one is one you will have 3 minutes to find your answer. Alright?
Alright.
Oh, if I was tabbed into the fucking...
by the way...
Oh,
sorry. Are we DMing you?
Yes, DM me your answers. Whenever it's a 3 minute timer thing, I should say. Alright?
Okay.
The longest anime title. Go.
Oh god. Oh, anime has some dumbass titles. I'm only thinking of one, and I'm gonna freaking call myself out if I use this as my answer.
Never forget that I am always willing to find new, innovative ways to torture my friends. I love that my entire YouTube channel has basically become how far can I torture my friends until they stop doing these.
Oh my god.
By the way, longest is ambiguously worded for a reason. It could be character length, word length, just unnecessarily long, you know.
And no Google if I'm correct.
No, you're allowed to Google. How the fuck are you supposed to do one of these for 3 minutes without Google?
But I mean, like, we could just do anime with longest title.
Neo has submitted. I knew someone was gonna bring that one up.
To be honest, I actually remember about that, but I just couldn't remember the name of it.
Except
I mean, if we're allowed to Google.
Except you did copy some subtext.
Well, true, but still, I couldn't remember it. It's 3 minutes. I'm not going to be able to type all that in like.
Alright, Neo, would you like to give your answer first?
Sure. Reborn as a vending machine, I now wonder the dungeon is as strange as the title suggests.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I will say you clearly got it from one like the Ranker or whatever Game Rant, like listicles, which I do read myself, and I've actually seen the exact one you got this from. Med.
I saw this one in this list as well, but it was at number 20. Apparently, number 1 is The Misfit of Demon King Academy. History's strongest Demon King reincarnates and goes to school with his descendants. Is an amusing power trip series set in high school.
1 second. I do want to see, like, what's the actual full title for this one?
Oh, I've seen this anime.
Yeah,
it's a good one. I've seen it when it was in like the Japanese version.
It cuts off at the Descendants, which is still remarkably long for a title. And Z?
I felt like directly looking it up would be cheap, so I just went with the longest one I've seen in a while. I'm a noble on the brink of ruin, so I might as well try mastering magic.
I think I've seen that one, actually. Or at least tried it.
I've heard about that one, I just never seen it.
I feel like there's a twist to this. Why are you letting us Google?
Oh, no.
Because sometimes it's just funny to see what you can actually find legitimately, right? I do have to be
but
fair.
Also I trust you not.
Fair. I do also have to be fair. Med did provide not only a legitimately long title, but one that it was 3 times the length that I initially thought it was. Med's a grower, not a show. I might have to
I've
cut
been
that.
told.
Alright. There is one more of these, and I put them at the beginning to be a little fair. The most descriptive anime title. Go.
But, ooh. This is so interesting. The most descriptive.
Z and Neo have both submitted. You do still have 2 minutes and 10 seconds, man, so don't rush.
I'm just still looking through this, like, top 20 list, because, you know, a lot of words, a lot of descriptors. Yeah, you know what? I like this one.
Oh man, I can't believe someone actually pulled that out. Alright, so I do have to be fair, only one of you I think gave truly a descriptive anime title. I'm gonna go in the order you guys messaged me though, so it's not like, immediately obvious, right?
Yeah.
Alright.
Z, what did you give me?
Orb on the movements of the earth.
Neo?
Ascendance of a bookworm.
And Med?
I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level.
Which I do have to be fair, that is a legitimately descriptive anime title.
Yeah, it's what he's done, it's how long he's done it.
It's
and
actually a witch. Like a female witch.
It's what she's done, it's, you know, how long she's done it, and the results that happened.
I will be honest with you. I enjoyed the anime in spite of one very key flaw for me. Almost every, character that comes back for more than 2 episodes is a woman.
I mean, is that a bad thing?
When you're gay, yes.
You know what? Valid. No further questions.
Also, to be fair, Orb, like, the premise of the anime is about, like, different ideas on, like, science, like literally the movements of the earth, so it is descriptive.
No, but the anime title needed to be.
Yeah. Orb on the movements of the earth.
Next up we have your biggest hear me out anime. You will not have 3 minutes for this.
Oh. Oh, good God.
Biggest.
Okay. I wonder if you know what the full title of this anime is.
Oh god, why did that give me a flashback?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot of explaining to do.
God, I got summoned back to early college when my friends discovered that and showed me it. Neo?
I'm still searching. I literally don't deal with stuff like this all the time.
Do you know what the hear me out phrase means?
Yes!
Okay.
I don't think I've ever heard Neo go quite to that kind of level of douchebagginess.
Trust me, I don't usually bring it out, but it only does. I only do because whenever I feel to a point where it's like I'm teetering on the edge. I will say this: there was a whole lot of different anime that I can remember off the top of my head, and it's hard to figure out which one would best suit this.
So, now, I need you guys to not only give your answer, but also explain your reasoning. Z?
Oh, good God.
Oshinoko.
And why?
The first episode. The way the main character, has that dynamic.
What dynamic?
A little bit of a weird fucking dynamic with the patient. And then they get reincarnated into siblings. But after episode 1, Oshinoko goes from yeah, there's creepy premises here to it's actually a good show. It's just the first episode you have to get past.
Alright. Med?
Oh, God. I said Oremo. This is more commonly known, if you were watching anime around the late 2000s, early 2010s, as My little sister can't possibly be this cute.
Yeah.
It's one of the most infamous animes out there, and I watched it, and it's honestly kind of wholesome. The the whole relationship between everybody is not what you think it's going to be. Although, yes, it is anime, it does have those jokes occasionally. I highly recommend it. I think it's kind of adorable.
And Neo?
I said One Piece. It's mainly because first season basically brings a description of every character into light, right? About what they consider as a treasure, what they do to search for that treasure, and how they preserve that treasure.
Alright. So you hear me out on it is just because of the length of them?
It's basically on how it's basically saying that how am I supposed to word this properly? that there's some things that they value more than their lives.
I think I'm gonna give this to Z, partially because I do feel like Med has triggered PTSD.
God.
Look, 100% fair. This brings out those, like, anime's getting popular now, and we should probably regress back. But those of you who are hearing this, give it like 3 episodes. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But yeah,
I remember it doesn't change much after the 3 episodes.
no, that's why I'm saying, like, you'll get into how the anime feels within that.
I will also be fair, as customary with Rationale. This comment was supposed to call somebody else out. Specifically Neo, who I don't think he intended to, but did accidentally recommend an ecchi to a minor.
Oh no!
I don't think he remembered it being an ecchi, but he did.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about.
Also, I'm sorry, I gotta call Neo out on this one. You hear me out and choose one of the most popular anime of all time.
You know, I was wondering that myself, but it is kind of one of
Reminds
those
me-
things, the length does put some people off.
I totally get it, but like, you know when people do the hear me out cakes and they're like, hear me out, Lola Bunny. It's like, bitch, everybody's got Lola Bunny on their motherfucking hear me out cake.
In honesty here, I have not watched edgy animes in such a long time.
No, in fairness to Neo, this was probably about 8 to 10 months ago.
And to be fair, Panda, that anime is not a hear me out anime. That was just degenerate.
The thing is, actually, it was way more than 8 to 10 months ago.
Oh, was it? Alright. Well, I still remember
Yeah.
it vividly. Alright. Next up. The most overrated anime.
Oh, there's so many out there.
You also do
Ooh.
not have 3 minutes for this one.
I don't need 3 seconds for this one.
I knew exactly that answer was coming from you, Mad.
And look, this is coming from somebody who doesn't even think this is a bad anime.
It doesn't have
But-
to be bad to
Yeah.
be overrated.
I got it figured when I saw the picture.
Message that to Neo Glitcher, he'll be happy.
Oh, the one I sent to you?
Yeah. I think he
I
will.
wish it wasn't. It's such a good show, in my opinion.
Also, I think you mixed up the names there, Panda.
What?
You said message that to Neo Glitcher.
Oh. My bad. Look, let's be fair, we were discussing before this that I sound like death.
Honestly, I did not catch that until you just said it, man.
I was like, wait a sec, are you live streaming this? Is Glitcher in the chat? That's great.
Oh, Z.
Did I request to go last on this one?
Just for that, you're going first.
Fair.
Neo?
Sword Art Online.
Reason being?
Well, it starts first season. It starts off really well, and then as seasons 2 and 3 come into play, it starts like getting dropped off by people bit by bit because it gets more like out of the online virtual survive at all costs to like what am I doing here?
Just watch Dot Hack. It's just so much better.
Alright. Med?
It's Naruto.
And
I'm
what?
sorry.
Hey!
I know people love this show. It has been the same goddamn plot for like 1,000 years. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of like the happy-go-lucky rise above hate John Cena looking motherfucker just like winning everything that he does with very little consequence. You know, they had to kill off named characters near the end of the original series just for there to be stakes.
You know, fair.
Honestly, if you want to enjoy this series and you want to do it a lot more fun, play the games.
Med, can I just say, if it ain't broke, don't fix.
Hey,
and
it is broke.
And
they broke
Z?
it, and then they tried to piece it back together with Boruto.
And Z?
Attack on Titan.
Why?
It's a good show, but like the internet likes to make it out like it is the best anime ever, and it's like it ruins people's experiences of Attack on Titan when they like look at the show and it's like it is not the masterpiece that like everyone's saying. It is not the most perfect anime or manga you'll ever see.
I do have to be fair. I agree with all three of your assessments to varying extents. But I do also have to be real. I have direct experience with Z's. Like,
I can feel that, especially considering that like anytime someone who's watched the show has talked about AOT, they do so by immediately mentioning a spoiler.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm trying to remember what was the one that I was trying to call Z out with. I don't think it was this one. Alright, now, the most underrated anime.
Again, there's a bit out there, but not as much as overrated.
Yeah, okay.
I have not heard of that one, Z, so that probably bodes slightly in your favor. Not really, of course, but...
Honestly, I did not know this is an anime, but no, I don't need to do that one because I don't know it. So there's a lot I don't know about. Jeez.
Oh, damn. So I had never heard of Oshinoko before Z had mentioned it. And I looked it up, and apparently Amazon Prime has both the anime and the live-action adaptation,
Why does it
which
have
is
one?
very recent.
Yeah, most anime fans don't watch live action though.
Oh, this one I
They
did.
know the like atrocities that Netflix has done.
Oh, 100%. Do not watch American versions of live actions. This is not American.
Like, I think the only well-received anime live action there's been is the One Piece one. And that's because it was made by an actual fan. Like, it was a passion project.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was really good.
Alright, let's start off with... I don't think I've started with Z too much so far.
I don't think you started with Med at all.
Have I not? I thought I had sworn.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, then Med.
Okay, so I said Hellsing Ultimate. And the reasoning for this is both behind the scenes and in the show itself. You're looking at a mangaka who was mostly known for drawing hentai, who made one of the best action-packed and storyline-driven animes of all time, iconic characters, and I don't think that this anime gets its flowers enough. Team 4-Star did a really good job bringing it to light with their abridged series, but like seriously, go and watch the original. It's every bit as brutal as it is like thought-provoking.
Neo?
I said Haganai. It's basically a anime where there are these students who don't have friends, especially the main protagonist, who's like labeled as like a delinquent because of his looks, but on the inside he's actually a good person, and he's trying to make friends, but because of this, it's such a wholesome anime in my opinion, because they made a club to be able to have people who don't have real friends and to come together to become friends.
I feel called out. Z?
Okay, my home hero. So the premise is the dad, like, our MC is the dad in this scenario, and it starts off with him noticing his daughter's, like, looks like she's been getting hit. So she follows her back to her apartment, where he kind of sees the boyfriend talking to someone about fucking killing her. So throughout this process, he learns this person's Yakuza. So what eventually happens is he kills this guy. And then the rest of the series is playing mind games with the fucking Yakuza to avoid getting found out, and basically being a battle for survival for their entire family.
Yeah.
This shit goes hard. I don't know why no one talked about it during 2023 when it was airing.
Honestly, I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of it either, but it sounds like Taken the anime.
Yeah, it does. I'll be honest with you, it's close between Neo and Z, but I think I'm leaning ever so slightly to Neo on this one.
I'm a little bit shocked on that, but to be fair, I've never heard of either of theirs, so...
Yeah.
Trust me, Med, when you watch the first season, you'll understand.
Oh, this was Z's. What franchise just needs to die?
Oh no!
I'll be honest with you, I have my answer for this one.
Oh. And we're just speaking in anime sense, right?
Yes.
What does it mean by franchise in this case?
So,
Basically,
same
it's
universe,
part of the same
basically.
series. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be big enough that it's like a merch seller and that sort of thing.
Med has provided her answer.
Hold on,
Really?
Oh, I wonder who that's directed towards.
You.
Me, yeah.
I think this one might be directed towards Z.
I'll admit, I'm surprised at both Neo's and Med's guesses so far, and I said this question was directed at Z.
I will say this: I've only watched a few episodes of this anime and never got back into it.
Fair.
I never got the interest in why it's so popular. There's another one I thought that I have it on my mind.
Out of curiosity, can you send me that one too?
Yeah.
The one you sent already will count. I'm just curious. Fair. See, Z, your answer is what I thought Med would say. Med, would you like to give your answer?
Sure. For me, it's Digimon. The animes need to end. This has gotten ridiculous at this point. I love the first 3 seasons of Digimon. And after that, they stopped being Digimon. 4th season was Digi Power Rangers. They turned into their Digimon. 5th season was Digi Cops. Now, like, I didn't even realize they're still going. One of them is an app on your phone. It's Battle Tamagotchis. It's not even Digimon. It's already dead. Just bury it already.
Digimon Frontiers.
Honestly, I'm with Z on that one. Season
Digimon
4
Come
was
on,
my
no,
favorite.
I have to stand with Japan and
Digicops
Z.
is
I have
amazing.
to. I have to
Frontiers-
stand with Japan and Z, man. I'm sorry.
Frontiers has an
Digimon is
amazing.
Can I?
Frontiers has an amazing theme song. It's probably the best Digimon theme song out there. The show sucks.
Can I
It is
also,
not about digital companions.
Can I also just say one thing? I understand your point, and I'm not trying to say it's invalid. I do think there's something to be said when you're working with digital devices like Digimon does. Evolving it is something you should do if you keep the show going. I understand your point, you know, that season 1 has them with like the old school PCs that are like 2 feet thick. But like,
Also, Digimon started as Tamagotchis. They weren't.
it kind of did, yeah.
Or it was
Sure,
named-
but we're not talking about the toys. We're not talking about the video games. Keep
yeah, the
them.
franchise started as that though.
But I'm talking about the anime franchise specifically.
Fair.
The
Alright.
anime franchise started out as them with little digital monsters and being friends with them and all that kind of stuff.
They're basically the same though. Like
Alright,
their
alright.
Digivices
Let's
are
cut
what's
it here.
coming from.
Yeah.
This is
yeah.
not a matter of trying to argue other people's opinion wrong. It's a matter of yours arguing yours right. Right? Alright, Z, would you like to go next?
Naruto. I like PTS. I like Shippuden. Boruto is a sin against humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I've never actually tried it. I try not to let reviews influence my decisions too much, but when it's been as bad as Boruto's reviews have been, you kind of struggle to, you know, continue that mentality.
I watched up to like 50 episodes of that shit, and it was just mostly like, you're just trying to be the old Naruto, and then you're also throwing a completely unlikable protagonist that whines about his
Yeah.
father being busy being the president of the country.
No. He became
When
Hokage,
he-
believe it.
One of Boruto's main gripes within the early parts of the show is, yeah, I know you were an orphan who didn't have your parents during your, like, upbringing, but you're busy as the fucking Hokage, too busy to do stuff with us regularly. Not even that they don't do it.
I will also say, it's kind of weird to think about the fact that, you know, Naruto grows up and just kind of becomes a deadbeat dad.
Like, you were saying, Japanda, like, oh, I've never tried it personally. Yet, look, I've never tried magic mushrooms in a minefield. I still know it's a bad idea.
Well, and honestly, Naruto never experienced what it was like to grow up with his father.
It's not even just
Hey, they
that
have the
it's a
same
bad
experience
sequel.
then.
It's not just that it's a bad sequel, it actively disrespects the original.
Alright. Neo?
Okay, first off, my non-definitive answer, or before I give my actual answer, first said, but it was just Full Metal Alchemist. I'm sorry, that definitely needs to die off at some point. It does get tiresome. It But my actual answer I put was Bleach.
I'm going to strangle you.
Yeah, I was curious about this one too.
It's about what, Shinigami or something like that? Come on. We see a lot of anime that gets the same kind of treatment where someone who's alive gets unique abilities and is able to fight the dead. It's like Jujutsu Kaisen.
Did you watch the show?
I have watched a Bleach before, but I dropped off on it because I never got the actual aspect of it.
I
sorry,
have to agree with Neo on this one. I'm sorry. The anime really at one point just becomes, how are we gonna overcome this? Ichigo realizes he's a blank too, and gets blank powers. He is everything, and it just becomes ridiculous at one point.
You know, I've seen that argument a lot with Bleach, but it is like, yeah, he's quote unquote everything, but he only uses the Soul Reaper powers.
I do have to be fair. The fact that people actually like defended each other's answers really goes to show this was a good question. As much as I think Naruto had the most support, I was surprised to see Bleach get any level of defense. So I am gonna give it to Dio on that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Alright. The worst good character. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes on this one.
The worst good character.
So how people complain about some of the, like, main character line characters, right?
Fair.
Oh.
There is one, by the way, and I'm not gonna say what anime, that if you answer it, I will probably instant disqualify unless you have a really good argument. Because there's one character in this category that I don't think deserves to be in this category.
Like a bad character, like a bad person that's written well, or
No.
a good person that's
A good aligned character that is considered to be trash. A popular example in recent anime would be Zenitsu, who I will admit I do somewhat enjoy for the most part of just how like fucking Jekyll and Hyde it gets, but I acknowledge that why a lot of people dislike him.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at this list, and I disagree with the number one.
I'm very surprised to see 2 answers from Death Note.
Really? Ooh. This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, Z has an answer, so that gives a little bit away. But like,
I will say I was a toss up between 2 characters, but I dislike this one more.
fair.
I'm so interested now because you say that they're both from Death Note, but not that they're the same character.
Yeah, they are different.
Hold on.
Wait,
Hold on. I'm
name
wondering-
anime, Z. I think I know which one this is from, but... Really? Alright, we got some interesting answers. What were you gonna say, Neo, before we begin?
Oh no, I was thinking of it, but I messaged Med to see if what I thought was right.
No, they were different.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
Alright,
he did not.
No.
alright. Let's begin with... Honestly, Z. I want to begin with Z.
okay. Teddy from Persona 4.
Reason being...
Everyone hates him because of these like creepy kind of lines he gives off, but it's really like he starts off as a blank slate in the games and the anime, and he gets influenced by the like other main characters and becomes a bit of a creep.
See, I'll be
But
honest.
throughout
What?
Huh?
Go on.
Throughout the series, we see how in his character, he cares about all of these people, he has all of these insecurities, and then it eventually manifests in his, like, shadow.
I'll be
And,
oh,
sorry.
I'll be honest with you. I remember watching at least the first half of Persona 4, and he was one of my favorites. So I'm really curious of like, did I finish this and don't remember, or like, did I just genuinely like forget?
People find him
Like,
annoying.
didn't finish.
he's-
Med.
So pretty much everybody knows Death Note at this point. It's the battle between like two of the greatest masterminds of all the anime universe. And then I'm not. It's a spoiler, obviously, but like the anime is so old that I really don't care. In the end, Light wins, but that's too controversial of an ending. We can't have that. So instead, we have to bring in Diet 0 Calorie L in the form of Nier or N. And pretty much this is where people agree the anime stopped. Because it's just the same beats as before, but without all the acumen, without the interesting personality, the dynamic between the two. And you're telling me this is the guy that beats Light Yagami? Under no circumstances. The anime ends when Light wins.
I'll be honest with you. I did not know Light wins.
Sorry.
Fair,
It's kind of like spoiling Rosebud.
Oh god, don't remind me of that shit.
I know, obviously that's a lot older than Death Note, but Death Note is so old of an anime at this point that, yeah.
Alright. And then, Neo?
Now that you mentioned this, I said Light Yagami because even though he starts off as like a good person who's a genius high schooler and all, well, when he gets a hold of the Death Note book, he goes on a killing spree. I'm sorry, that's not something a protagonist should be doing, unless it's for like defensive reasons.
I will be fair too, and I only am saying this because of the Death Note musical. Was he also not like really against the corruption that is lawyers getting big businesses off scot-free?
Yeah.
Oh no, it was of the
Yes.
person who killed his mother.
He starts off just being against corruption and like seeing fit to get rid of bad people, but eventually throughout the series he develops a god complex.
Fair. I guess if you can just will the death of any individual, that does kind of do that.
You are, in fact, pretty much, you are a god who can die.
I have to be fair here. I think Neo raises a really good point that I didn't know and consider of Light Yagami. Z definitely is bringing into question my own experience, but I'm not discounting off of that. But I do also just have to be fair with Med. Like, just bringing in somebody to be like, well, we had the first guy fail, might as well. I guess frustrated too.
My brief argument against the whole Light Yagami, I don't even think that he should be involved in this, because I don't think he's a good aligned character.
I would definitely probably argue sort of anti-villain, where he's meant to be a negative figure with a good point, right?
He's a mystical version of the Punisher.
He's a good
Or-
and bad
actually-
aligned character.
Yeah.
Actually, he's more like an animated Japanese version of
Honestly-
Deadpool.
Honestly, the more I
In
think
his
about it, the
mind-
more I think that both anime selected, both Death Note and Persona 4, kind of portray a certain amount of gritty reality to where, like, good and bad don't feel like necessarily accurate descriptors.
Light thinks he's doing good, but like in his mind he is like the good one. But what's really happening is he's developed that god complex, and he's got, instead of his like good intentions, it leads him to just acting on his selfish urges.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Alright. Next up we have... What villain or anti-hero had the best point?
Oh, wait a second. Who won that one?
Oh, you did. I said...
Oh. Okay.
I
I
would
was
be
like-
frustrated in that too. Alright. Let me start the timer for 3 minutes.
This is ironic.
What do we have from Med?
Gaze upon my answer and be shocked to your core.
The irony is duly noted.
Oh, I forgot. I didn't think about this, but yeah, this makes sense.
Oh, by the way, do you want to know the answer I would have probably just immediately disqualified you for last question?
What's
Sure.
that?
It was Sakura from Naruto.
Yeah, there's no way I would said soccer.
She's not a well-written
no.
character, but I think she gets far more hate than she deserves.
Oh, for sure. And also, the problem is not solely with Sakura. The problem is with female characters in Naruto in general.
Yeah, fair. Hinata suffered it a little bit too. I do think the Sand Village one, I forget her name, Tenten? Something like
No,
that?
Tenten is part of the elite village.
Tamari.
Oh, Tamari, my bad.
Mine, yeah.
I think
I will
she
say the
got
fact that
away
you
from
can't
it.
even remember her name.
To be fair, it has been legitimately about a decade since I've seen that show.
Also, to be fair, he got a different Naruto character.
They.
And
They. Yeah.
Who
But
did I begin with
Tenten is
last
the
question?
village guy.
I think you begin with.
Z, because he was the only one who didn't go Death Note.
Oh yeah.
You know what? Let's go with Med. Just because, what did you say?
Hey, hi there. I said Light Yagami from Death Note. It's no shock to anybody who knows my content. My name is Kira. I literally took my name from Death Note.
You know, I never actually processed that until this moment, and I feel like shit.
No, I mean I've mentioned it before, but just like briefly in passing. Yes, so Light is against, because he has a police officer basically as a father, and he sees how corrupt the justice system is and good people going free. Yeah, I think now more than ever we kind of realize how corrupt the justice system in every country is, and he gets a hold of this book. Initially, his plans are good, and later on it becomes like, hey, I want to keep doing this good thing, but people keep trying to stop me, and therefore I now have to turn into this
Monster.
sort of... Yeah, I have to become a monster if I want to keep doing good. And, you know, because I've already spoiled this part, when he wins, crime rates are down massively. And you can say that that's under fear, but it's like, okay.
Alright.
Your point?
Next up we have Neo with another interesting answer, but one I'm kinda here for.
I said Lelouch. Even though technically he is a protagonist, he was also a villain as well through his Zero persona. Because
Real
he
quick,
was-
to confirm, this is Code Geass as Lelouch, right?
correct.
Okay.
Okay. Thing is, back in years before, like 10 years prior or roughly that Britannia took over Japan where he was living in and wanted to get revenge on his father, the king of Britannia, for what he did to his mother and his sister. Alright, but as time progressed, he also saw what not only his father but his siblings from other like families were doing. Decided, hey, I wanted to take a stand against my father and show them the point where it's not right to do this kind of injustice to the world or to those who I love.
And Z?
Aizen from Bleach. He is a really fucked up villain in the way he does shit, but his general goal to, like, because in Bleach, the Soul Society has Central 46, which is basically a giant conglomeration of people that make the decisions for the entire verse. And they are the biggest pricks you could ever think of. And what Aizen's goal is to get rid of the Soul King, which is basically this mutilated corpse that has an immense amount of power, which holds the current system together. Really fucked up.
Yeah.
And
I will say it sounds like they could have benefited a lot from a light Yagami.
I mean, look, we're looking at 3 characters who are essentially the same people.
Honestly, yeah, it's kind of hard to choose.
Code Geass for the longest time was known in the anime circles as Mech Note.
I do think I'm actually gonna give it to Neo's argument. To Neo for his argument there.
Yeah.
Alright.
Also, fun fact, Neo. You know how I was torn between 2 people initially for like... No, Suzaku was the other.
Suzaku?
For good aligned characters that are trash.
Oh.
Pain from Naruto could have been a good second.
Who?
Pain from Naruto?
No. I will also say, for franchises that needed to die, I forgot to mention this, my answer is Dragon Ball.
I think they're doing good enough new stuff with it.
But the thing's also just been going since like 88, 89, something like that.
The thing is, they kind of like
Dragon Ball anime
branching off a
technically
bit
has.
too.
And my answer for this one, by the way, is Stain from My Hero.
Makes sense.
Oh, interesting.
I remember the hero killer.
Yeah. Biggest case of an anime making a character look 18 plus, only to reveal they are 14 to 17. Starting the 3-minute timer.
Do we have to go 14 to 17 or just anything younger than 18?
Anything younger than 18 I'll take.
Okay.
I'll accept, I should say. I'm gonna edit that into fucking...
Oh, this is gonna hit home big time. I completely forgot that this happens.
Oh man, I was so worried about this quiz being like trivia or something like that because I haven't watched anime in God knows how long. But no, I get to bring up really old anime deep cuts.
You know, Matt, I just looked that up. That's fair. That's fair.
So I'll admit I am cheating a little bit with this one, so you may disqualify me, but I'm gonna make my point.
Sure?
Well, no, who specifically are you talking about, or is it multiple?
Oh.
No, I'm talking Neo.
Oh.
Wait, how old was she?
Hold on, I'll type it.
Obviously, you don't have to confirm or deny this, but good God, please tell me we get the opposite of this.
No.
Oh, no? Oh, I had one.
You want to share while I try and find how old this character was?
Sure. So, a character that looks like they're younger, but they do the, actually, she's like over 3,000 years old. Sailor Minimoon.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think Neo did not understand the point of the assignment.
Oh, did Neo do what I was advocating for?
I think Neo did a character that looks older, that is older than they look, where I'm looking for a character that looks young, looks older than they actually are.
That's the way I interpret it.
Oh,
Honestly, you have a really good case in my opinion for the MC of that show, though.
yeah, but
I understand.
Alex,
Yeah, but the thing is, you know what happens.
I know. I'm on season 3 of it. Alright.
Yeah, because anime doesn't do this often. They often do the opposite.
See, I
No.
feel like that. So, I'll give the example I thought of when I made this question. How, like, half of Class 1A in My Hero looks like they're solidly between 20 and 25 to me.
Valid.
And
Even though they're all high schoolers. Like, I get it, fair. But you can't argue to me that Kirishima, Momo, or Bakugo are less than 18, honestly.
Yeah,
You
I
can-
agree. You
you-
look at them and you're like, oh, they're 14. Like, fuck off.
Alright, let's start with Med on this one.
All right, I'm gonna bring you back to some old school classic clamp animes. Who remembers Chobits?
I do not.
nope.
This is an anime about a world where you live with Persicons, which are basically robots in the forms of people. And this guy finds a Persicom in the garbage, and turns her on. I'm not going to go into detail on that.
I was gonna say phrasing.
No, actually, the phrasing is pretty adequate.
Reactivate.
Reactivates, thank you. Reactivates her. But later on in the anime, it's to find out that she is essentially a fused daughter of two Persicoms into one that this scientist ended up making for a girl who couldn't conceive her own children. So there's a lot of awkward sexual humor in this anime for a character who's essentially like 5. But
Alright.
she's obviously built like she's, in her mid-20s.
Now, would Z like to give his answer? Because I'm very curious on the age of this character.
Jotaro Kujo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Age?
17.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't even need to look this up. I know what Jotaro looks like.
Alright. And then Neo?
I will. In my defense, I did have a bit of a dyslexic moment when I interpreted this, but I was saying like that time I got reincarnated as a slime, like Shizuku. The way I interpreted it.
You thought they looked younger than they actually were, where I was looking for looks
Yeah.
older than they actually are.
Yeah.
And you want to know actually one thing, another source that inspired this question? Did you know Link was 17?
Seems about right.
It literally would depend on like what Link you're talking about to me, where
I
I'm
guess
like, that
fair,
makes
but-
sense.
The majority of them that I've looked up the age for specifically have been described as 17 or younger. And I will say
I can
Breath
see
of the
Skyward
Wild,
Sword.
Breath of the Wild looks specifically like 21, 22 to me.
Yeah, I would say like the Breath of the Wild Link, or like, oh god, what's the gritty, grim, dark one? Twilight Princess?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Twilight Princess Link, I would say yes. And
Ocarina of
Anything
Time
else?
and Wind Wakers, I think, yeah, that's fair.
yeah, that, what is it? Skyward Swords? I think Skyward Swords looks about 17.
Yeah. I will also say this one was directed at Med, as we have talked about this as an issue in Japanese media in general. Like, we just talked about Link from Legend of Zelda, several characters from, like, My Hero and the like. And, like, I get it, they don't want this material put out of their characters, but just making them, like, look 18 plus and then say they're 17, that's not gonna do anything, unfortunately. It's just gonna get people labeled that word without actually being that word.
Yeah, and I think, again, the opposite issue happens a lot. Like, you've got people like Meliodas from Seven Deadly Sins,
Yeah.
who looks like he's young, but is actually older.
And he would be a really good example in the reverse, just obviously we're not looking at the reverse.
Meliodas, he doesn't really look young. He's just kind of a short motherfucker.
He has a bit of
Now-
a baby face going, in fairness.
Now, Japan, looking at this now, I see the point where it says it, Milim, from that time.
Who?
Milim Navav.
Oh, yeah, the Demon Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she would be a great example of this, because she's like, what, 1,000 years old and looks straight up 12.
Anyone from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is an example of this.
No, wait, that's still the reverse of, like, what,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah.
I'm half out of it.
Oh.
We do have one more question, and I do think I'm actually giving this point to Z, because that dude does just straight up look like 28.
Yeah. The JoJo's anime is stupid. It's fun stupid, but it's stupid.
Honestly, it's, I think, the best anime you could watch drunk.
Oh, for sure.
Alright. Lastly, the most overpowered character. Let me begin the 3-minute timer.
Oh, I don't see how you get worse than this.
Oh, I'm so curious what Med put right now.
It's such a basic answer. But, like, I don't know how you get worse than this.
I knew that character was gonna come up. I'm not surprised to see Neo's answer either.
This character's the absolute elephant in the room.
You think your character is the elephant in the room? Mine probably tops that.
The two are definitely in competition with each other, and the discussion is gonna be interesting for this one.
Yeah, like, mine is not this, like, interesting deep cut anymore. This is the equivalent of saying Superman.
I struggle to find how you'll get a more OP character than the one I selected.
Hey, Japan, I remembered another one that's not gonna be my answer because I'm sticking with what I said.
Yeah.
But
Oh, fair. Do you want to say your secondary answer, Neo?
yes. I'll wait till all the answers are given.
No one else said it. Just say it.
Okay. My secondary answer I said was Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Which is an incredibly valid answer, I have to give that. Now, Neo, would you like to give your primate answer?
Saitama from One Punch Man.
Med, would you like to give your answer?
Goku from Dragon Ball.
And Z?
Fushi, the main character from To Your Eternity.
Can you describe a Fushi for me? Because I'm not aware of him and I'm not sure if Med and Neo
In
are.
concept, he starts as an orb, which is literally immortal. He shapeshifts into anything that he grows close to that dies near him. And then, by the point the anime is at now, he can absorb, basically, like, connect with everything he replicates, and he becomes the world.
I will say, unfortunately, Z broke how this was gonna go.
I mean, admittedly, yes,
Yeah.
I could have, like, if you're, I'm looking at overpowered, so, like,
He's
what their
overpowered.
powers are.
Yeah.
So, how this was gonna go was I then had on the next slide, now make them fight.
Oh my
No!
god.
I do think, for sake of argument here, I'm going to take away the pure immortality of Fushi, because otherwise that does become incredibly unfair.
Well, yeah, because if you're, yeah. So, here's the thing. Let's go ahead and say you defeat Goku. Okay. he comes back stronger. It's literally insane DNA. They get more strong by getting their asses kicked. Goku's gotten his ass kicked so much he became a god.
Not to mention, he just screams and levels up.
He screams and levels up. He can draw power from the planet itself. He has, I must reiterate this, become a god. He's so powerful he beat himself, which is not possible.
So, how specifically do you think he would take down Saitama and Fushi?
I think that he would... He's so stupid as a character. I think he would take their attacks. And I think he would lose the first 1, 2, 5 fights. But all of your victories are temporary. Because he's now getting stronger because of it. And now your One Punch Man can't even throw a punch. Because my teleporting god with power beams has nuked him from low-level orbit. Saitama still needs to breathe, by the way.
I will be fair, in the season 1 finale, he does just straight up launch himself off the moon.
I mean, so does he get to a point where he just doesn't need to breathe, or like...
That was not explained, and honestly, I don't know how to consider it. I'm kind of just going with in-universe insanity for each character to keep it fair. Like how
Fair
Goku
enough.
can just scream and level up.
Argument, though, Saitama, throughout the series of One Punch Man, he cannot control his shit that much. He can't stop himself from killing the person. This is why, like, the One Punch Man versus Goku argument never works. It's because there's not much to scale it relative to Goku. But also, everything Saitama punches, he kills.
And also, isn't it, even if he doesn't exactly hit something, doesn't the blow of the after effect, it eventually does the same thing?
I do think he did actually make a, like, Hurricane one episode because he punched straight up in a rainstorm.
Fucking anime is so dumb.
Yeah.
And also with Fushi, even if he removed the immortality, he has the ability to create multiple bodies.
Alright,
that
so
can just, like, switch multiple times.
in that case, let's move to Z's argument for Fushi.
He can create literally anything in his repertoire. So if he like has an impression of something, he just replicates it. If it's a living organism, he can just create it and make it as a new body.
Alright, and then Neo.
There's not much to explain. He's trained himself to the point where no matter how strong an opponent is he just knocks him out in one hit. It doesn't matter if they're immortal or they can replicate it or can come back from a loss. He'll keep kicking their asses over and over.
Now, I will admit, this is an incredibly difficult group to score against each other. But honestly, what's really swaying me is that one person defended another person's answer. So, part of me does kind of want to give it to Neo for the fact that Z stepped in to be like, well, in fairness to Saitama. But at the same token, I do have to acknowledge that, like, yes, Goku literally just kind of screams, and then there's form like XYZ to do bullshittery, right?
Oh, yeah, it's so less about that, like the screaming thing, and it's more about the Saiyan DNA of just being like, well, this person killed me, and now my body literally changes my power level to now be above the last person I fought.
But then also Z did kind of pick literal God, basically.
Oh, that's true. If I was pitting gods against each other, I definitely picked the wrong character. I should have picked Haruhi Suzumiya.
I don't know who that is, I'm not gonna ask.
Unless Unless Goku goes for the kill instantly, which isn't in his character, he loses to both.
I will say, I do have to make a choice, and unfortunately it does kind of just become the fact that someone did defend another person's answer. That does kind of heavily sway me, because that's showing like, hey, let's not disqualify this guy just because, yeah, he seems like a relatively average person. But then, like Neo said, then yeah, like, he's just trained to such an extent that, yeah, it's kind of bullshit. So I do think I'm really gonna have to give it to Neo just because Z argued on behalf of Neo.
Unintentional.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if that's all it takes to win an argument, then yeah, I don't know.
It's
when
a
it
rough
comes
matchup,
to
in fairness.
Yeah,
when it comes to
was.
debates, I just stick with my answer.
From last place to first, Neo did make an impressive comeback. It was actually 3-3-3 going into that last question. So the fact that it was so hard to judge those three against each other did kind of become like, well, I have to pick the quote-unquote champion no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And it's legitimately just... I know the whole Saitama versus like anyone with magical powers is such a funny meme debate, but I do think, like Z mentioned, like, he just kind of punches somebody and they die. Like, yeah, okay, any amount of defensiveness is cool, but like, Z's character had rapid regeneration. That's not gonna do much, right?
Yeah, but the thing is with that character, anyhow, like, he becomes one with the earth at one point, so like, if the way to kill him is to kill yourself. Yeah.
I feel like pretty much anybody but Saitama should have won that, because Saitama's only as powerful as he is in like relativity to his own universe.
Yeah, but you can't really scale that because, like, everything else he goes up against, he kind of just one-tap, so we don't know how far that goes.
It's also always gonna just be difficult to judge across universe unless, like, these creators come together to be like, how would this actually go? How would our characters actually compare, right?
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I guess you have Death Battle.
Fair, but also realistically, they're not entirely canon, so it's kind of like, yeah, they're a good frame of reference, but even they could, in theory, be wrong with how the creators would see it, right?
Yeah.
Little, like, pet peeve, Death Battle is trash. Like,
I don't think we need to go into this discussion on my video.
Yeah.
We can talk about this after, but let's... I will also say, there were a few other questions that were rejected, like most overrated genre got replaced, because I knew it was just going to become a race for like action, adventure, fantasy, and isekai.
it's just Isekai.
It's just Isekai.
Mainly, yeah.
It would have been all of us with the same answer.
There were a few different ones. I want to kind of stick to the high level stuff, though.
I love it.
Well, aside from the last question, I don't think that was too bad. I acknowledge the last one got a little scuffed just because I did not expect quite that set.
I will say Gojo is probably more OP than Saitama.
Gojo probably would have, like, Gojo probably would have had the best chance just being considered the fucking, like, slows down attacks time thing. Like...
Well, actually... nothing in JJK is really, like, comparable to either. I said what I said, but it's, I kind of acknowledge, like, right after, yeah, I was just wrong. JJK's power scaling isn't really to scale of One Punch Man or Dragon Ball.
It would definitely struggle to compare, but the fact that he has, like, that level of a trump card, right?
Yeah.
I'll explain, by the way, who Haruhi Suzumiya is afterwards, but that would have been my way of, like, cheating the win.
I'm gonna definitely do the outro.
Alright,
thank you all for joining us today. I hope you have a good one out there. Hope this was a fun little insight into people's thought processes and discussion on anime. I hope you have a good one out there, stay safe, and I hope to see you next week. Bye!